Divide and conquer is a tactic widely used in various arenas, especially in military and political contexts, and it's notably effective in subjugating people. Historically, Europeans have adeptly employed this form of psychological warfare. The Romans, for example, used it to bolster and sustain their empire, often instigating conflicts between local tribes or backing one faction over another, thereby fragmenting the overall resistance to their rule. The British Empire famously implemented this strategy in India and Africa, exploiting and intensifying existing ethnic, religious, or social divides to control diverse and often adversarial populations. During the Cold War, the United States and the Soviet Union frequently supported opposing sides in regional disputes or incited divisions within countries to prevent them from siding with the rival superpower. Presently in Africa, divide and conquer is often seen under the war on terror guise, with military aid and support given to governments or factions purportedly fighting terrorist groups. This is believed by many to influence local power dynamics and potentially deepen internal divisions. However, divide and conquer isn't exclusively an overseas tactic. It has been effectively used as a genocide tool of psychological warfare against African Americans for centuries. In this video, we'll explore how the genocidal divide and conquer psychological warfare tactic has been directed at African Americans in the U.S. During the slavery period from 1619 to 1865, divide and conquer was a psychological warfare tool used to sow discord among slaves to manage the slave population and mitigate revolts. One of the tactics to divide slaves was skin color between light-skinned and dark-skinned enslaved individuals. Light-skinned persons, often children of slave owners and enslaved women, received preferential treatment, like doing light work such as working inside the house as servants, cooks, or child caretakers. Conversely, dark-skinned individuals were generally assigned to tougher, more labor-intensive field labor. This intentional division aimed to create a sense of superiority among those with lighter skin, thereby fostering resentment and division within the enslaved population. The remnants of this tactic, manifesting as self-hate, are still evident in the African American community. Many black men, influenced by this legacy, often prefer white women or partners with lighter skin, inadvertently disregarding the beauty of our own race. This self-loathing is projected onto our women, while many black women resort to wearing weaves to appear more Europeanized, striving to fit into society and to attract the attention of her own men. Another example of the divide and conquer tactic during slavery was between African-born and American-born enslaved individuals. African-born individuals, accustomed to freedom before enslavement, were often seen as more defiant and harder to manage. In contrast, American-born enslaved people, conditioned to slavery from birth, were perceived as more compliant. By highlighting these differences, slave owners often pit the two slaves against one another to prevent the slaves from forging a unified front against oppression. The division of labor during slavery also played a significant role in the divide and conquer strategy employed against slaves. Field slaves faced harsher discipline and longer working hours, enduring more physically demanding conditions compared to those working in the house, leading to jealousy and resentment among these groups. In modern times, the promotion of interracial dating and marriage is viewed by many as another divide and conquer tactic. Intermarriage is often perceived as a final act in the annihilation of a people under a genocidal system. Oppressed groups, like African Americans, who might suffer from PTSD and Stockholm Syndrome, often view the allowance of interracial dating and marriage as progress. But under a genocidal system, intermarriage is often sanctioned by oppressors to decrease the number of the undesirable population through births. The increase in the promotion of interracial marriage in the last 15 years, concurrent with the rise and normalization of white supremacy, appears to many as an obvious strategy. Historically, the prohibition of relationships between black men and white women was a cornerstone of white supremacist ideology. The shift towards accepting these unions is perceived by many as a strategic move in the divide and conquer approach. Many believe the ultimate strategy of the widespread media promotion of intermarriage relationships is designed to create division between black men and women, reduce procreation within the black community, increase the number of biracial offspring, and ultimately, over time, gradually decrease the black population. Concurrently, statistics prove that biracial individuals choose to marry whites more than 3 times that of blacks, thereby finalizing genocide by birth when these biracial individuals predominantly choose white partners, which would also incrementally increase the white population over several generations. The divide and conquer genocidal tactic has been a successful strategy against African Americans for centuries. Among the more than 130 atrocities listed in the Reparations Bill, House Resolution 414, the psychological damage to our people and the current gender war playing out on social media is an atrocity not listed but deserving recognition. African Americans need reparations to heal from the damage of 400 years of oppression under a white supremacist genocidal system. Part of the reparations we seek must aim to address and repair this psychological harm. A significant movement is gaining momentum in the United States, focusing on a critical issue. African Americans are committed to casting their votes exclusively for the Democratic candidate nominated for the U.S. presidential election who pledges to sign an executive order for reparations within the first week of taking office, preferably no later than the week of January 6, 2025. Should the nominated Democratic candidate fail to commit to reparations, African Americans are prepared to collectively abstain from voting in the 2024 presidential elections. It is imperative to emphasize that African Americans will not support any candidate who refuses to endorse an executive order for reparations by January 2025. If the demand for reparations is ignored or if Congress rescinds the Democratic executive order for reparations, African Americans will initiate further mass boycotts targeting corporations and the U.S. military. To comprehend the underlying reasons behind this movement, we strongly recommend watching a video entitled, Reparations: Should African Americans Boycott the 2024 Elections in Return for Their Vote? This video provides an accurate depiction of African American history, tracing it from the post-slavery era to the present day. It vividly illustrates how both Republicans and Democrats have repeatedly collaborated to make promises to African Americans during election campaigns, only to renege on those promises once they secured the African American vote. In response to this systemic exploitation and the rise of normalized white supremacy, African Americans are embarking on this movement. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more videos about the African American reparations movement and videos on African and African diaspora geopolitics, politics, news, history, and religion.